Okay, gather around, because what we're doing today is a Spider-Man movie ranking with a difference. Rather than rank the movies based on the movies or the quality of their content, this time I'm going to be ranking the movies based on the DVD box art. Basically, I'm ranking DVD covers, in simpler terms.
Interested?
Cool. Grab yourself a Pepsi and sit down.
I've conquered all the chippies.
So I do need to make a quick confession before we go into this ranking. I'm British, so I'm going to be basing this off of UK DVD covers. I'm aware that these can vary from region to region, so if you are interested in an international version of this, then maybe we can look into that at a later date. But for now, it is just going to be UK versions, and this list will also include Blu-ray covers if the Blu-ray cover is significantly different from the DVD cover. Alright, let's find out how biased I am. In at number 15 for the absolute worst of the Spider-Man physical media box arts is the Spider-Man 2 Blu-ray cover. Now, it is worth noting I'm basing this off of what is the most currently available option in this instance. Blu-ray covers for the Spider-Man movies really can vary from place to place, but this is the most common version, and this sucks butts. Holy mackerel, what were they thinking? You take a PNG of Spider-Man, you take a PNG of Doc Ock, probably from the style guide provided, and slap him on a blue background, which contrasts horribly with the very warm lighting on the PNGs. The only nice thing I can say about this is that the individual PNGs are pretty nice. But what is this, blue screen your own background in there? You would be better off blue screening the entire cover so that we could just make our own one. You'd be better off just having a flat white cover and letting me draw my own cover. This might sound a little silly, but when you get to the latter part of this ranking, you'll really kind of see what I mean when I say nothing is sold to us about the conflict in this movie between Spider-Man and Doc Ock. Just assumes you know who these two are, which we do, but that's not an excuse to half-ass it like this. You know what? Nope, I've already spent more time talking about this than they did making it, so we're gonna move on. Number 14 is the Spider-Man 1 Blu-ray. At least this one kind of had a theme of faces. Once again, absolutely nothing of the film's conflict, stakes, themes, or what makes Spider-Man or the Green Goblin special is actually displayed here beyond just they have cool masks. But also, it's fucking lazy. Just look at it. Moving on. Number 13. The Spider-Man 3 Blu-ray cover. I swear to God, we will get through these Raimi Blu-ray covers quickly. This is the best of the three of those Blu-ray covers purely because the black background goes better than the blue one. It has, overall, some nicer color contrasts. The black background at least gives it a little sense of mystery, a little sense of drama. I'm clutching at straws to find things to compliment about this. What an absolute dumpster fire of a trilogy as far as Blu-ray covers go. And that is evidence that I'm not biased here, okay? The Raimi trilogy on the bottom, when does that ever happen, okay? Number 12 is the Spider-Man Far From Home Blu-ray and DVD box art. Now, you could just post this thing on Twitter with no caption, and you will get a lot of discourse because this movie is incredibly divisive among diehard Spidey fans. But I think whether you love the movie or hate the movie, we can all agree that there was way more to work with for box art than this. You could have Spider-Man, Mysterio, and Nick Fury all back-to-back fighting against the Elementals in Venice or something. Or you could have the illusion scene, except, you know, you don't necessarily explicitly show that Mysterio is a villain. You just show, you know, Spidey in this green realm with Mysterio behind him or something along those lines. Anything would be better than just the three main characters stood side by side with a triangle behind them, which is sometimes a spider depending on what version you buy. But another trend that I just really fucking resent is when the Spider-Man movie has Spider-Man without his mask on the cover. It's a Spider-Man movie. That is the Spider-Man mask. There is no actor in the world whose face is going to be more iconic than this mask. And I mean, no disrespect to any actors like that, but the mask is, like, Spider-Man. As far as that imagery goes, that's Spider-Man. And when you look at this cover, not to mention Spider-Man is in a bit of a departure from his classic look, wearing his red and black suit with his modified sleeves. So without the mask there, just at a glance, if you're just looking at this in your periphery, it might not even even necessarily look like Spider-Man to you. Alright, look, let me show you something, right? I'm gonna put it in your peripheral vision, okay? There, see? Which one of these looks more like a Spider-Man movie to you? This box art here, which I'll talk about later, still looks pretty obvious as to what this is from your peripheral vision only. But also just look at it, even if he had his mask on, it's just lame. They're just standing there waiting for the bus. The London bus, so it would be a big red one. Even if they used one of the teaser posters where Spidey is just hanging out in Venice with a little magazine or something, that would be better than this. The one where his mask has all the stickers all over it, that's better than this. Ah, man, it just sucks. Spider-Man Far From Home has Mysterio in it, and the poster game is this wank. Just get it out of here. Get it out of my sight. In at number 11 is the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Blu-ray and DVD. What? How? How could it be this low down? Into the Spider-Verse not only is packed to the brim with incredible imagery and visual storytelling, but we also have a beautiful art style. And yet the best we could do is have the three main spider people just swinging through a blue city. What about that image where Spidey is just like free falling into the city and he's wearing his What's Up Danger fit? Like, that would have been so cool. That's such an iconic moment from the movie. This is just three characters in poses, and it's for such a visually striking movie. Oh god. In at number 10 is the Spider-Man No Way Home Blu-ray and DVD box art. And it's very MCU, isn't it? It's the old floating heads poster trope. It is still really unfortunate to me that this is the movie where we got Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland as Spidey together for the first time. But because they kept that so under wraps, it means that we can't even get it on the Blu-ray covers. Not to mention, the only promo pics we've got of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in their Spider-Man suits have their mask off. Does the mask mean nothing anymore? I do like the way Ock's tentacles kind of wrap around, making the circular shape for the image and framing everything. And I'm not gonna lie, this whole poster could have landed 10 times better if Spidey wasn't in the fucking Iron Spider. Just an incredibly overused suit throughout the MCU that looks way less visually appealing than the other Spidey suits in the movie. Even if it had been the integrated suit, that would have been better than this. At least that suit has some thematic weight to it in this movie. But you know, the best suit of all of them to showcase on this cover would have been the upgraded suit. That is basically the main suit for the movie, at least in the first half anyway. And not to mention, that suit has been criminally underused on the poster artwork throughout the years. This was an opportunity. The missed opportunity of MCU Spider-Man movie posters really feels like the next logical step up from this video. In at number 9 is the Spider-Man Homecoming DVD cover. We're definitely getting better. Largely, this one is just being helped by the look of the Stark suit. It does mark a trend in Spider-Man Homecoming's marketing that got maybe just a bit annoying, was that the entire marketing of this movie revolved around Spider-Man is now in the MCU, and the poster artwork made such a point of this because Iron Man was in every poster, and Avengers Tower was always in there. They wanted you to know one thing, and it's that this movie takes place in the MCU. When you think about it, it's kind of a little misleading as well, because Spider-Man Homecoming, I think, is the one Spider-Man movie to not feature a scene of Spider-Man swinging in Manhattan. They saved that for the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. I know why they've used it here, and it's because that big New York swing is usually your big climactic moment in your Spider-Man movie. But Homecoming always worked kind of outside the box. It didn't, lean into that appeal. I think the sad thing about this, though, is that this cover just on paper sounds really cool. Spider-Man swinging through the air, Iron Man behind him, Avengers Tower behind him, but the overall camera angle we've got here isn't very dynamic. I think this could have worked maybe a bit better if Spider-Man were a bit more zoomed in and the background were maybe tilted a little bit to convey a bit more motion. Maybe get a bit of motion blur on there as well. It looks quite flat and motionless, but this one's not terrible. At least we get a nice look at Spider-Man in his suit. It looks fantastic. And I will say the coloring of this does sell that this is going to be a lower stakes, breezier adventure for Spider-Man. It doesn't have that intense lighting of the other Spider-Man movies before it. So for what it is, it's okay. In at number 8 is the Amazing Spider-Man 2 DVD cover, which just kind of screams that kind of John Romita Sr. era of Spidey, where it's like, look, we're looking at this interconnected web of lives going on here. And if the movie were being honest, rather than having Green Goblin and Rhino in here, you'd instead have Richard and Mary Parker and all the fucking boring characters. And Spidey would definitely have his mask off. Heck, he wouldn't even be in the suit if we wanted to accurately represent the movie. I'm throwing a lot of shade at this, aren't I? No, I do like the Amazing Spider-Man 2. The lighting is a bit weird, and Spidey's pose could be more dynamic, I guess. But it's still a striking cover. It's a cool cover. I honestly like this one. In at number 7 is The Amazing Spider-Man Blu-ray and DVD. Yeah, these ones were all by and large the same. This artwork here, if you first describe it to someone, or on first glance, it's pretty unremarkable. Look, it's Spider-Man and he's on a background. He's not even doing any crazy poses or anything. But there are so many little details here that make this impressive. For one, the only parts of Spider-Man's costume shown in this poster are his face and the chest logo. This cover focuses strictly on those two parts because those are the quintessential parts of Spider-Man iconography, and this movie understands that. Take notes MCU Spider-Man movies, but then you've got NYC behind him looking cold and gloomy, with a web behind Spidey's head, and it almost kind of looks like cracked glass, but it also kind of looks like the Spider Sense effect as well. His spider logo on his chest has these slices through it, which might be the most effective part of this design. They're claw marks, and it shows you a bit of what Spidey's up against, and because of how gnarly these look, it honestly looks like he's up against something pretty scary. The lighting on it is great as well. I like the reflections in the lenses here. This is just a great cover overall. Simple, but really effective. The one thing I will say is a shame is that you can't see that awesome spider design in New York City behind him like you can on other posters. Maybe it would be overkill, but I thought that was awesome. In at number 6 is the Across the Spider-Verse Blu-ray and DVD cover. Now, earlier on, I got a hernia over the Spider-Man Far From Home cover not having Spider-Man's mask on. When it comes to the Spider-Verse movies, though, I almost feel like different rules apply. You kind of want to see what variety of different characters you've got in there. These just being Spider-Man movies is not like their sole appeal, I think. Spider-Verse is, in a way, its own IP at this point. And we associate that more with characters like Miles and Gwen and Peter B. Parker than we necessarily do Spider-Man as a whole, if that makes sense. But there's also a lot on here that just any Spider-Man fan would get excited about. Look at Ben Reilly over there. Look at Miguel O'Hara. And the spider logo on Miles' suit is just clean as fuck. We can see that Miles is clearly being hunted down by all these many different Spider-Men here, and we've got the multiverse portal behind him, which has always been a very effective design. Nothing is really shown of any kind of conflict between Miles and Gwen or Miles and Peter B. Parker like there is in the movie. Maybe we could have Gwen looking a little more concerned or something like that to maybe indicate that. But on a whole, this is a seriously cool cover. I would still have picked the teaser poster for the movie rather than this. The one where he's upside down, that was just a really cool poster. But this is still very cool. In at number 5 is The Amazing Spider-Man 2 Blu-ray. Remember when I said that The Amazing Spider-Man 2 DVD cover would have been cooler if Spidey were in a more dynamic pose? Well, here we go. Now it has amazing written all over it. Hell yeah. In at number 4 is the Spider-Man 2 DVD cover. Now, these are getting really difficult at this point because from here on out, these covers rock. If the pedigree of Spider-Man movies and their posters and marketing material weren't so utterly ridiculous, this could have made top spot on any other list. We've got Spider-Man high above the city at sunset, Doc Ock in the reflection of his lenses, his costume damaged, and MJ clinging onto him for dear life. Remember when I said about how the Raimi Trilogy Blu-ray covers told us nothing about the conflict? This is what I was talking about. You've got intense lighting here. The city is almost kind of at like a Dutch tilt angle. We can see what Spidey's up against in his eyes. We can see why it matters on his suit. And look at the intensity in Kirsten Dunst's facial expression. Very impressive stuff indeed. In at number 3 is the Spider-Man Homecoming Blu-ray artwork. And wow, look at this! Once again, the vibrant colors suggest that this is going to be a breezier Spider-Man movie than what's come before. But this one still showcases some intensity to it. You've got Spider-Man being chased down by the Vulture with dust and rubble coming up where Spider-Man is clearly skidding across the ground. Spider-Man is in a super dynamic pose. The Vulture looks incredibly imposing. It's at a tilted angle as well. The way the Vulture's wing frames the Spider-Man Homecoming logo is awesome. It's just a shame about Iron Man.png over here. Like, where is he going? His eyeline doesn't match either the Vulture or Spider-Man. But I can let that slide. This looks sick. In at number 2 is the Spider-Man 3 DVD cover. And wow, look at this thing. It's so dramatic. That dramatic sunset lighting is back. Spider-Man is shitting bricks levels of high above the city. And Spidey, watch out for that window. You're gonna go I can't believe how cool the image of Spidey seeing his black-suited self in his reflection is. But there is one tiny, weeny little thing that bothers me about this, and it's that this image was clearly supposed to be black suit Spider-Man seeing red suit Spider-Man in the reflection. They've done quite a good job at hiding it. They've put the correct emblem on his chest, but he's got those bigger, more angular black suit eyes, and not to mention the little honeycomb patterns on his suit are now embossed, as they were on the black suit, but not the red suit. Meanwhile, the black suit in the reflection is much more of a fabricy texture. Only a fucking dweeb like me would notice this, and it doesn't in any way hurt how awesome the image is, to be honest. I can think of a better version of this overall idea that they maybe could have gone for this, but this is still so cool. In at number 1 is the DVD cover for Spider-Man 1. Okay, so it's just going to be Spider-Man crawling up a wall, okay? Very minimalist. All it has to be, Spider-Man crawling up a wall, is all it has to be. What do you mean it goes this hard? Lighting like this on a superhero movie box art just feels like a lost art. Box arts commonly go for neutrals these days, with lighting where you can very clearly see all the actors and stuff, but now this is an intense sunset, like the other Raimi movies, but that sunset is reflecting off of this glass building that Spidey is scaling, giving Spidey some incredible clarity and contrast, but then behind him, look, you can see building tops beneath him, far beneath him. What the hell happens if he falls? It is such a quintessentially classic Spidey image, but it's so dramatic. It also reminds me a lot of the box art for the Spider-Man PS1 game, and that was pretty cool too. Alright, so there you go. Would you like a follow-up? Would you like an international version? I could do maybe steelbooks. Tell me what you want, please. And until the next time, farewell. Now, where would I be without the generosity of my trusty patrons? We're going to start with a shout-out for the patrons in the $10 and above tiers. We have Just Another Evil Robot Clone Seeking Revenge, Xander Wolf, Ghostly Phantom, Twilord, KB, Sad Goku, Dare Denny, Kale Bennett. If I had more space, I'd explain that. It's taken me way too long to update this. And Mr. SP, Sirius the Skeptic, and Biotin. And now, on to the patrons in the $5 and above tier. We've got Joseph Tribble, Press Play to Jason, Gideon Wells, Basic Content, Ben Raven, Reese Burns, Manalza, Goat Cannon, Silver, Josh Strider, Grant Allen, Marv Animation, Cho Henshin, RT0, Carlex, SSS06, and Vera Wild. Thank you, good folks, so much for your generosity. The video's now over. Get out.